Prison Break. Just saying that name already brings a flood of memories. The blueprints, the tattoos, the escapes, the betrayals, and that unmatched brotherly bond between Michael Scofield and Lincoln Burrows. But what if the story didn't end where we think it did? What if, instead of another season, we explored a spin-off, a book of Linc? Yeah, you heard me right. Imagine an entire show centered around Lincoln Burrows. Now, before you think this would just be a repeat of Prison Break, let's dig deeper. Lincoln's story has layers. A man once framed for a crime he didn't commit, forever living under the shadow of his brother's genius, and constantly walking the line between redemption and destruction. He's raw, unpredictable, emotional, and has always been the heart that Michael fought to protect. But what happens when that heart has to lead on its own? A Book of Linc series could begin after the final events of Prison Break: Resurrection. Michael has gone underground, finally free with Sarah and their son, and Lincoln is lost. For the first time, he's without a cause. No prison to escape, no brother to save, no mission to complete. That emptiness becomes his new prison, one that can't be broken with tattoos or plans. We could see Lincoln trying to rebuild his life, maybe in Los Angeles or even overseas, somewhere like South America, where he's trying to run a small auto shop, staying under the radar. But of course, the past never stays buried. Someone shows up, maybe a familiar face like Sucre or C-Note, warning him that there's a new kind of threat rising. Not the company, not Poseidon, but something bigger. A network that manipulates identities, framing innocent people through digital systems. The twist? It's a modern evolution of the same conspiracy that destroyed his life years ago. So Lincoln steps back into the shadows, not as a fugitive this time, but as a hunter. That's where the Book of Linc could find its strength. It wouldn't just be another prison escape. It would be a journey through Lincoln's fight for redemption, justice, and peace within himself. We've seen Michael's brilliance. We've seen his mind at work, a puzzle genius who plans every second of his life. But with Lincoln, we get something else: instinct, emotion, and grit. He's not the thinker, he's the survivor. And that could make for an entirely different kind of show, something more physical, more grounded, and more emotionally charged. Now imagine the tone: darker, more psychological, less about puzzles and more about trauma. Each episode could focus on Lincoln helping someone who's been framed, manipulated, or silenced, almost like a vigilante version of Prison Break. But along the way, he's still running from ghosts, memories of Fox River, of Michael, of the people they lost. Every face he sees reminds him of another life that was ruined by the same system. We could even have flashbacks. Moments where Lincoln dreams of the prison yard, hearing Michael's voice, giving him moral direction, pushing him to stay calm when rage takes over. Those hallucinations could be both haunting and healing. A constant reminder that even when Michael is gone, his presence lives in Lincoln's conscience. Picture this, episode 3. Lincoln saves a teenager wrongfully accused of murder. He hides him in his shop, trying to find evidence to clear his name. But the more he digs, the more he realizes the same digital patterns that once framed him are being used again, only smarter, cleaner, almost undetectable. That's when he realizes someone studied Michael's methods and they're using them for evil. Boom! There's your connection. The ghost of Michael's genius being twisted into something corrupt. You could build an entire arc around that. A villain who admires Michael Scofield's brilliance, but uses it to control others. It would make Lincoln's mission personal. He's not just saving others. He's protecting his brother's legacy from being turned into a weapon. Let's not forget the emotional weight Lincoln carries. He's a man who's buried friends, lovers, and dreams. Every scar on his body has a story. Every fight he walks into carries guilt and survival mixed together. In Book of Linc, that emotion could finally breathe. Instead of being the supporting muscle, he becomes the voice of resilience. He becomes the mirror of what Prison Break truly meant: freedom at a cost. And yes, of course, you can bring back characters. Sucre could have a recurring role, maybe as Lincoln's anchor, the voice of loyalty and humor amidst all the chaos. C-Note could be his streetwise ally, helping him navigate a digital underground that Lincoln doesn't fully understand. Sarah could appear in small but powerful cameos, reminding him that Michael's peace came from letting go. But the real transformation happens in Lincoln. He's always been a fighter, but in this story, he becomes a protector. He's not running anymore. He's chasing justice. And for the first time, it's not about his brother or his freedom. It's about redemption. Now imagine the tone of the show. Cinematic, slow-burn storytelling with gritty realism. Not flashy, not overdone. Something that feels like a blend between Breaking Bad and Prison Break. Raw emotion, slow tension, but with heart. A score that builds up like thunder before a storm. The camera doesn't glamorize the violence. It focuses on the cost of it. Lincoln would constantly be tested, morally, mentally, spiritually. He'd be forced to face who he used to be and what he's becoming. There's also a chance to explore his relationship with his son, LJ. Remember LJ? The kid who was once the reason Michael started everything? He's grown up now. Maybe bitter, maybe angry, maybe still searching for his own place in a world that labeled his father a criminal. What if LJ becomes the next generation? A hacker working behind the screens, helping his dad track the conspirators. That father-son tension could be powerful. Two men trying to heal the Burrows name from different sides of the law. You could even build a season finale around that conflict. Lincoln wants to destroy the system, LJ wants to expose it. Both are fighting the same enemy, but through different means. One physical, one digital. It's emotional, it's generational, and it gives the story depth beyond action sequences. And fans would love that, because Prison Break was never just about the escapes. It was about the people. It was about loyalty, sacrifice, and survival in a world that constantly tests your morality. A Book of Linc series would carry that same DNA, but evolve it for a new age, where the prisons are invisible, built with data, lies, and fear. Think about it. The opening scene could show Lincoln staring at an empty prison yard, the wind blowing through rusted gates. He whispers to himself, "There's always another way out." Then the screen fades to black, and the story begins. That's the hook. Not escaping walls anymore, but escaping the ghosts that live within him. This kind of spin-off wouldn't just extend Prison Break. It would redefine it. It would show us what happens after the escape. When freedom itself becomes a burden, Lincoln would become a symbol of those who can't move on, who still fight when the world stops watching. Even better, it opens doors for other character-based spin-offs. Imagine the Chronicles of Sucre, showing his life after Fox River, the struggle to stay clean, to raise his family while temptation lurks everywhere. Or C-Note Files, following a man trying to rebuild his image after being labeled a criminal. Each of these could exist in the same universe, crossing paths occasionally, giving fans more of the world they love without diluting the original story. But Book of Linc should be the first, because Lincoln Burrows represents the emotional spine of the series, the pain, the loss, the humanity. Michael might have been the brain, but Lincoln was always the heart, and hearts make the best stories. Imagine the final episode, Lincoln standing on a cliff, overlooking the ocean. He holds a small photo of him and Michael, faded by time. He says quietly, "You broke us out, little brother. Now it's my turn to free what's left." Then he walks away and the screen fades to black. That's not just an ending, it's closure. It's a legacy. And that's the beauty of a good spin-off. It doesn't just recreate, it expands. It takes the soul of something iconic and gives it new meaning. Book of Linc would be that next chapter. Not about escape, but about acceptance. Not about plans, but about peace. It would remind us that sometimes the hardest prison to break is yourself. And hey, if you've been following me through this journey of Prison Break ideas, theories, and what-ifs, thank you. I love diving into this world with you, breaking it down piece by piece, character by character. So if you enjoyed this deep dive into what Book of Linc could be, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on the notification bell, because we're not done yet. We've got more stories to uncover, more universes to explore, and more what-ifs to bring to life. Until next time, stay free.